Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keploy's community call. And today with me, I have some wonderful people from the team Neha, Ritik, Charan, Shivam, and Pranshu. And we have a wide variety of things since the last community call. So we have unit testing frameworks released with Java, Go, Jest, Python, as well as a new feature of how you can use Keploy with Docker without setting Docker alias. So we'll be going through one by one, starting with pet clinic application. We'll be demoing, and it will be done by Neha.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. It's glad to be here again. The team is pretty excited to show what's new. And last time, I think I went through showing a
So
sample
over to
Go
you, Neha.
application. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, I was just saying that last time I showed a sample Go application or URL shortener and showed how Keploy can be integrated without any code changes and how you can generate test cases and mock for a Go application. Today the theme is majorly Java, and I am here today with a sample very popular uh, pet clinic application that has. Uh, Postgres DB. So with Postgres, we'll be today creating test cases, and then we'll be turning off Postgres and seeing how Keploy can just act like a database as well as run the test cases with this sample Java application. Okay, I'm going to quickly share my screen. Animesh, please let me know if that is visible.
Yeah, that's visible. So over the
Awesome.
stage is over to you, Neha.
Sure. Awesome. So I have this application. The front end is already running. I'm going to also I have Postgres DB running, so I can check that. Yeah, my Postgres is up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this Java sample pet clinic documentation that we also have on our website, keploy.io/docs. Uh, just a quick update that now to install Keploy on any platform, you just need to run this curl command, and Keploy would be installed. Now you don't need to set any custom alias for Docker, or if you're using Linux with Docker, without Docker, etc. We take care of that. And to start recording the application, so I'm following this. I already have set up the front end. Now to uh, start the start recording the test cases, I just need to run Keploy record with my jar file. So here it is. Animation, is my screen visible? Please let me know if it is not.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yep. So with this, my application is initializing. So there are some Hikari pool calls, initial calls, and all that. Now, uh, I would parallelly show that there is a mocks YAML created, um, because there were some initial connections with Postgres DB that my application did, and those need to be mocked when I run Keploy with in test mode, so that I don't need Postgres. So there is just mock.yaml inside Keploy folder right now, and it's all in the same code base of my sample pet cleaning application. Now, as I start making calls, um it would record test cases. So, yeah, here we are. Let's create some pets first. Um, let's also create the bunny, the Bugs Bunny. And we have some more. And as you see, the calls that I made, I refreshed, I created 3 to 4 pets. All these are recorded by Keploy, and these calls are stored as test cases. So post call with the headers, the body, uh, and the response. This is the expected response. Now Keploy will be asserting everything going forward to this response. um, yeah, so these were the calls that we made and got saved as test cases. And also we have got their mocks and the mocks YAML file. So if you see, there will be sorry, we added dog. So you would see that there are data rows values which were sorted in the Postgres, and those queries also got stored as mock. Now, what we can do is we can go ahead and stop recording by just stopping this, and we can shut down the Postgres DB. So I'm going to stop my Postgres DB, and now we have this exited. Okay, awesome. Now when I run the test case, I don't need the Postgres anymore. I can run these test cases with deploy. Again, same deploy test command with a command to run the application, which is Java and the jar file here. I'm giving the delay because my application takes like initial 20 seconds to set up and build. So yeah, so once I run this without Postgres, Keploy should be able to run all those API calls, like six, I think five, six API calls that we captured with this application, and uh, we should be able to see the test report. So here is a test report created. You can also see that on the CLI itself that all the test cases passed. Now let's go ahead and introduce some errors. Let's say if you introduce some regression in the application which changed the expected response or the current response, right? So instead of Bugs Bunny, uh, it was just bugs, let's say, or it was bugs and money. And now I've changed the expected response just to showcase how will it show the differences. Now when I run the same tests again, it should be highlighting that difference. Apart from this, meanwhile this is running, now you can also access beta.keploy.io/test report to upload your test report files here and visualize these changes if you're not a fan of YAML files and visualizing there. Um, there you should be able to quickly see and identify which one are the failed test cases and what was the exact difference in a quick diff viewer. Yeah, the test cases ran, and yep, it failed because of the expected and actual body difference. Yeah, you should be quickly able to run this with Java. I have not done any code changes while running or integrating Keploy. But if you want to now get the test coverage with JUnit or any of your existing unit test cases, then you have to introduce a JUnit file within your code base, and Charan would be showcasing that. Over to you, Animesh. I think that was it from my end today.
Thanks, Neha. That's a wonderful presentation of how to use Keploy with one of the popular, I would say, sample apps present on the GitHub, and also one of the trendings.
Yeah,
So now
thank
we
you.
have Charan. He'll showcase, since we have just completed how to use with the Java sample apps. Charan will be showcasing us how to use JUnit with the existing Keploy and what are the kind of things that you can work around. So, hi Charan.
Yeah, hi Animesh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Saran. So I'll be presenting about how we integrate JUnit tests, which in Java, with the end-to-end test which Keploy creates. So let me share my screen. Can you
Yeah, your
see my?
screen is visible. Yeah.
So let's talk about the use case of this first. So as you know that Keploy will be creating end-to-end test cases, and what a developer usually does is unit test cases. So how do we integrate both of them and get a combined coverage so that if someone is using Keploy, so they would be happy to integrate it with their existing unit test case and get a complete coverage. So in Java, so we have to use the Java SDK provided by Keploy. So this is the dependency which you need to add it in the Java POM file, like the POM file in the application. And for the report, so generally in a Java application, people will be having their plugins for the report. So this is one of those plugins, and we made some few customizations so that you can see the Keploy end-to-end test case coverage and unit test set coverage and the aggregation of both of them in a single folder. So this is, you need to add this plugin so that you will get those report folders, and uh, this is for getting that coverage of the end-to-end test cases. And so this is one unit test file which you need to add in your unit test folder, so that this will also be run along with the unit test, and then we will be able to merge it. So this is one unit test case, and this is nothing but the jar file of the application. So this is the only thing you have to give, so that Keploy will take care of the coverage of the end-to-end test cases and merge it with the unit test coverage. So, and this is the command which you need to run to get the coverage actually. So this is nothing but the test command which Neha showed you before. You need to just add dash dash coverage flag to it, so that you will get the coverage, combined coverage. So let me now show you how it is done in practical. So this is an employee manager app. So I have my unit test over here. This is the unit test which I have created for this app, and I also have few test cases which are already recorded and the mock file along with it. And what else I need to do is, like, I need to add the Keploy SDK which I have already did, and the build plugins which I showed you before in the website. So let's go with the test file. So this is the test file which you need to add, which has the jar path, and you just need to create this file and keep it in your test JUnit test folder. So let's now try and execute that command. So so it is now trying to run the application, and basically the deploy tests were run first and all were passed, and it is writing the data to the coverage file, and next the unit test will be run, and then the whole coverage will be done, and then at last it will be merging the coverage. So let's now look at the how the files are being created. So this is the site folder in which you will get all your coverage report. So one is UT, this is nothing but only unit test coverage, and this Keploy E2E, that is nothing but the end-to-end test coverage of Keploy. This is the aggregate of both. It will add the coverage of unit tests and end-to-end test and give you a complete report. So let's now look at the unit test coverage once. So this is the unit test coverage which we got, which is 27% coverage. And these are the different files in which the coverage was done. So let me show you the other files also. Now let's go with the Keploy end-to-end test case. Just- So this is again UT, just a minute. So this is the Keploy coverage using just the end-to-end test cases, that is 53%. If you can see here, it's 50% the total coverage. So let me show you the aggregate of both. So this is the aggregate of both, that is 54 percentage. So you can see that with five test cases from Keploy, I have just got 53% of coverage, and with unit tests, I just got 27, which is already covered by unit end-to-end test cases. And at last, you will be getting the aggregate of this. So it's like only from 54% is just that you got an extra 1% from the all the unit test cases which you have written. So it's like end-to-end test cases will give you like the coverage in just few test cases. So this is how you merge the coverage of unit test cases with the Keploy test cases and get a aggregate coverage, so that you can increase your coverage along with unit test coverage. So yeah, this is how it is done. And yeah, over to you, Anmesh.
Thank you, Charan, for showcasing how to use Keploy with existing JUnit that I have for my application. Next, we have Ritik, who will be showcasing how to use GoTest with the Keploy integration. And then we'll have Shivam with showcasing how to work with Jest. And at last, we have Pranshu with PyTest. So over to you, Ritik. I think Ritik is having some technical issues, network issues. So we'll come back to that later. Shivam, hi. Hi, Shivam, you're on mute. I guess
Yeah, am I
he's
audible?
also facing some kind of network issue. Yeah, you're audible now, but your
Yeah,
video is lagging a bit. I am not so sure it's is it just me or for everyone.
yeah. You have some connectivity issues. So yeah, so let's talk
That's
about how things work. So let's see how we can integrate just with our Kepler generated test cases. So for that, we will need NYC installed for us. So just use a simple command and install the SDK. And in your package file, you will have to update few scripts because, as you know, there is a different way to get coverages and different ways. So we have eased that up. You just have to copy paste this in your package JSON file, whichever you are running. And after that, this is the test file that you have to copy paste and try to run locally in your sample application. And this shall run end-to-end cases like the Keploy generated test cases with pre-existing unit test cases. So let me show you how this works. So let's so yeah, this is our test case, right? So let's start with npm test, the basic, to see how what is the coverage and what is the data from the unit test case. So yeah, this is our basic file. So we have just written a simple function that would just go through and check a random calculator function. So this is the unit test case. And if you see the overall coverage of all the files across all the repos, this is what we see. So overall coverage is 11.95%. But luckily we have Keploy generated test cases to our save. The command to run this is, so yeah, if you just want to run the test case, you can just use your coverage like npm test. But in case you want coverage as well as like not just run the test cases but get their coverages as well, so this command is the one which you run. So what this will do is this will run your unit test cases, whatever you have stored, try get all the data from there and combine it with the data of the test cases that Keploy has. So yeah, as you can see, I have here two APIs with me, two test cases with me, which was stored by So this was a random array generator, so there has to be difference. So I wanted to see how this would work. So yeah, so the response is faulty, like the answer is false because again it's a random array generator. It will of course give different answers every time we run it, right? So the point we wanted to see that how will it behave in case of a failed test case. So this is our initial data. As you can see, when we ran a unit test case, the overall coverage percentage was 11.95, across the repository, right? But once we integrate it with Keploy and see how overall things work, this is the data which we get. So this seems to be a great, like overall percentage has increased from 11.95 to 52.17. So this has a lot of this is a huge jump. And in case you want to see that, in case no matter where our test cases failed or didn't fail, you want to see how everything turned out, you can just change this this code, which is again provided. This template is already provided in the documentation. Yeah. So in case you want that no matter whatever the test cases are, I just want the true result, I want everything to pass. So you can run something like this. So either at the point the test cases has failed for Keploy, the overall response will still be true. And by that you will get your overall coverage, which is, this is just for the unit test cases 11.95, this is all the end-to-end test cases 52.17, and this is unit test case plus Keploy generated test case all included, that is 54.34 percentage. And as you can see, the line coverage has also, like overall coverage has increased. So this is how you can integrate your local unit test cases with Keploy and get the overall coverage across your repository. So this will help you to leap to a greater number for code coverage. So yeah, that's it.
Definitely. Thanks, Shivam, for showcasing how to use it with the JTest. Especially, I like how it looks like the UI on the terminal.
Yeah.
Next, we have Pranshu, who will be showcasing how to use PyTest with Kepler and how to increase the test coverage. So, over to you, Pranshu.
Yep. So integrating PyTest with Keploy is a pretty simple process. So for that, we have um, included the docs on the website. So if you see the test coverage integrations section, we have the section for PyTest. And for the sake of this demo, we are going to be using an application from our own samples Python repository, that is the Flask Mongo application. So for this, basically you just need Python 3 and above and PyTest for it to work. So first of all, you need to install the latest version of Keploy from pip. So it's already installed on my machine. And then you just need to copy this small test file into your project and just aim it something starting with test, because all the test files have to start with test. So I have created a file called test underscore kepler.py for the sake of this demo. And then you just need to copy paste this command to get the test started. So right now I have two test sets that have approximately 5 tests each. So we'll see how Kepler does here. So if I just copy this, paste it, it should start. And in terms of the application, this is a simple Flask Mongo application that has mocks for Mongo. So as you can see, these are all the mocks. And so the first test set has been completed, and we are going to get a folder called coverage report, and it's going to have a folder each for each test set. So in this case, since we have two test sets, we are going to have two folders called test set 0 and test set 1. So we are just waiting for the test set 1 to start. And till then, in this, we have basically the coverage in two formats. First is in the text view. You can check the coverage of each file and the total coverage here. And also, if you want, we have the HTML view to check it on your browser if you want to. So yeah, so if you see, both the folders have been created and the coverage in these files have been created. So every file has its own coverage, and the total coverage for this test set is 44%. So That's how you can use PyTest to find the coverage for your Python application. Thanks.
Thank you, Pranshu, for showing how to use PyTest with pre-existing Keploy test and vice versa. At last, we have Ritik, who will be showcasing how to use Go test with Keploy integration. Hi, Ritik. Over to
Yeah.
you.
Hi, Animesh. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Hi, hi. So yeah, I will be showing how to merge the code coverages for the unit test and the API test, which is generated by Keploy. So let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible. Yeah.
Okay. So here we have the documentation of how to integrate Keploy for code coverage. So first I need to build a Go binary with this cover flag. So here is my this is a demo application, Jinmongo application. This is just a URL shortener. So what we need to do is first also there is a unit test written here for a function called compare JSON in the handler.go. Now what it does is it compares two JSON strings and returns the output of it, right? So in order to run the deploy test, we need to first generate it, right? So let's create a binary for this. And we have a binary here generated. Now what I have to do is generate some test cases for this. Let's start our application. Okay, it is showing that my Docker is not running because this application is dependent on MongoDB. So let's first check it's not running. Let's start my Docker compose of Mongo. So yeah, Mongo is running now. So let's try again. So yeah, as you can see, it is up and running. Let's record some test cases. A test case has been recorded, I guess. Yes. So let's record one more. Copy this URL, make a pull request to this, and as we can see, another test is generated. So yeah, let's stop this application and clear of the terminal. And now, yeah. So what we can do for getting the coverage of API test, which is generated by Keploy, is we just need to include this flag in a test command. So let's run this. Right, it has been started. Okay, so it is showing there is no coverage. So maybe I have. Okay. So this step here, if the application is not having the graceful shutdown, then the coverage will not be collected completely for that binary, right? So in order to have that, I guess we are not having graceful shutdown here in an application right now. Okay, so let's add this here. Graceful shutdown, right? And if we don't have our logic, what we can do is we just need to call the Keploy helper function for this. So yeah, this is our graceful shutdown. Let's build our binary again. Yep. And try it with it. Let's see. Okay, we got our 53.8 statements covered, right? Okay, so that is good. And what if we also want to have coverage for a Go unit test, right? So there, what we need to do is I have my Go test command with the cover flag, and here we need to follow the documentation in order to get the coverage of the unit test and get it merged with the API test, right? So here in this section, as we can see, we can merge that using this command, right? So let me paste that here and provide the file path where I need to get that binary coverage binaries. So copy this path. This is a folder which will be containing that. Now run this. Yep. As we can see, this unit test covers 7% of the statements. Now let's follow the next command which it has. Yep. Here. Paste this here. So now we have our coverage reports in the Keploy directory, right? This is the coverage reports for the Keploy API test, which we have generated. And let me specify the path for the unit test coverage. Right? So here. So this command will merge both coverages, and this I have generated a file called coverage profile, right? Now we just need to do this and we will get a coverage combined. So previously, as we can see, we have 53.8 coverage for API test and 7% coverage for the unit test. So that adds up to this. I mean, that has got average. So this is how you can get your unit test coverage combined with the API test coverage, right? Yep. So yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks, Ritik, for showing us how to use and combine the coverage, especially with the provided by the unit test and the second provided by the Kepler. So I have a question for you. There's a question like why graceful shutdown? So like I'm assuming like why graceful shutdown is needed for Keploy.
So graceful shutdown is a process in which application or services is terminated in a controlled way. So if there is an resource allocated, that should be deallocated by the application before shutting down, right? To prevent data loss. So
Right,
here Keploy needs that because Keploy is collecting a coverage from the binary, Go binary, which we have get.
right.
So if the binary has not exited in the os.exit or gracefully shut it down, so then what happens is the complete coverage of that binary is not collected into that folder for that API test. So that's why we need that here.
Gotcha. I think that covers most of our question. One last is left by Ayush Dikshit. Is there any docs to follow? So he's talking about how to use test folders while running PyTest with Kepler. So yeah, it's on our documentation website. It's documented. I'll share a link with in a bit. Here it goes. So you can use that to follow how to use Keploy with the existing PyTest, or if you have existing Kepler, then how to use it with your PyTest. So that's all, folks. Although, stay tuned because we have some exciting features about to be released in upcoming month. That's next week, in such as time freezing, cube controllers, and much more. So we'll discuss. We'll have next community call in depth discussion around those two specifically. Other than that, thank you for joining. If there is any more question, you can go ahead and ask. I guess that's all from everyone. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, team, for joining in for this community call and showcasing. Yeah, great. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great night.
Hey,
Good night. Bye.
thanks, Anish.
Right.